How's it going, everybody? I'm back with another exciting episode of After School YuGiOh. This is episode 9, and today's episode has been brought to you by viewers' demand. So this is a deck that I personally wasn't thinking about doing an After School YuGiOh tutorial on, but the fans spoke and the fans are going to get what they want. Have you guessed what the deck is yet? That's right. Today's After School YuGiOh will be about Ritual Beasts. So, Ritual Beasts are... a Ritual Beast is all about... Okay, so I'll be honest with you. I don't know what Ritual Beasts do. I've played this deck about 5 or 6 times and I still don't know how they work. I don't know any of their combos. I don't know any of their effects. To be honest with you, this is just one giant, cluster. So in order to explain Ritual Beasts to you, I'm going to call in a substitute teacher for the day. Please help me introduce your substitute teacher for After School YuGiOh, P-Bunny.
Thanks, David, for that fabulous introduction. Alright, students, we have a lot to go through, so take out your notebooks and let's get started. So what is Ritual Beast? Surprisingly, Ritual Beast has nothing to do with rituals. They're actually fusion monsters. They comprise of 2 types of monsters, the first one being the Tamers, and the second one being the Spiritual Beast. The Tamers are psychic monsters, and their main goal is to bring out the Spiritual Beast. Their level comprises of a level 1, 2, and 3. The Spiritual Beasts are used as utility cards. They all do something on the field. They are also once per turn. Their attack plus their defense equals to 2000, and they're all level 4. Keep in mind, Spiritual Beast also has a text Ritual Beast inside it. So any effects that says Ritual Beast, the Spiritual Beasts are also included. Both the Tamers and the Spiritual Beasts can only be special summoned once per turn. They're both wind elements, and they both are used to fusion summon. We'll get into fusion summon later. So currently, there are 3 Tamers, and like I said before, they all bring out the Spiritual Beast in some way. The first being Ritual Beast Tamer Elder, which I like to call Old Man. His effect says, when he's summoned, he gets an extra normal summon. This card is generally the card that you want to open up with. It's the first to its combo piece. It is necessary for your big plays and get the ball rolling. So generally, you would want to go first turn Old Man into an animal. The bad things about this card is that it has really weak stats, and in the mid-late game when you have no other monsters in hand, it is very dead. The next Tamer is Ritual Beast Tamer Lara. Lara special summons from the grave when it's summoned. It is good for comeback plays and good for really bad hands. A bad hand meaning that you would have to set a Spiritual Beast monster, hope it dies, and then summon Lara to bring it back for the next turn. Another good thing is that it has 2000 butt, which means that you can sit on her for a while. The bad thing is that she's awfully weak with only 100 attack and is really bad during the early game. The third Tamer is Ritual Beast Tamer Wen. When she's normal summoned, like Laura, you get a special summon, but from the Banished Zone in Zed. She's better in the mid-late game and very good for comeback plays if you ever get a Gate Gate or Dark Hold. She's also the strongest Tamer. With 1500 attack, you can push for game with her. However, she's very weak during early game and very useless if you don't have your engine rolling. So that's all for the Tamers. Now on to the Spiritual Beast. Currently, there are 4 Spiritual Beasts, and they resemble some sort of animal. So the first one is Spiritual Beast Cannahawk. This is essentially the best opening play. You want to go Old Man into Cannahawk to get your ball rolling. This effect says that you can banish 1 Ritual Beast from your deck. So like I said before, you can banish a Tamer or a Spiritual Beast. You essentially want to have 1 of each in your banish zone so you can do multiple plays. Also, if the monster is still there during your second standby phase, you can add it to your hand. This effect usually never resolves, but it's always there just in case. However, it's really bad during the late game when all your cards are already banished. So on to the next Ritual Beast, it's Spiritual Beast Rampengu. So this effect allows you to banish 1 Ritual Beast from your extra deck to send a Ritual Beast the same type to your graveyard. So you would be able to send a Ritual Beast Thunder type from your extra deck to send a Cannahawk, which is also Thunder type, to your graveyard. This thins the deck and adds food for your banish and grave. Like Cannahawk is also bad during the late game. During the late game, you might not have anything left to banish. So next, we have Spiritual Beast Apelio. Apelio allows you to banish 1 Ritual Beast from your graveyard to have all Ritual Beasts gain 500 attack and defense. The cool thing about this is that the effect lingers for the whole turn, so even if this card leaves the field, the 500 attack still stays, and also it stacks, so if you're able to resolve 2 Apelio effects, all your Ritual Beasts will gain 1000 attack and defense. This card is good to run stuff over. It also puts in a lot of damage and returns cards from the graveyard to the banish zone, which is generally where you want your monsters to be. However, if you have nothing in the grave, this card is essentially useless. Next, we have Spiritual Beast Pedalfin. This card allows you to bounce 1 card your opponent controls by discarding a Ritual Beast card. Like Apelio, it's also good to get out of Vanity's Emptiness and any floodgates that your opponents are running. Also, it's good for big pushes. You can bounce your opponent's monsters, or bounce a spell trap that you're afraid of. Lastly, it has a big butt. Like Laura, it has 2000 defense and you can sit on this card for a while. However, it's really weak during the early game, and it has no attack. So on to the fusion monsters. Unlike usual fusion summoning, you don't need polymerization. The Ritual Beast uses a mechanic called contacting. This is similar to the old mechanic of Gladiator Beast. To contact in and out, you need one tamer and one animal. To contact in, you need to banish the monsters. To contact out, you return the monsters from your banish zone. The cool thing about these cards is that you can contact out at any time, even during your opponent's turn. But remember, you can only special summon each monster once per turn. So currently there are 3 fusion Ritual Beast monsters. They're called Ritual Beast Ulti. So the first one is Ritual Beast Ulti Canahawk. In the artwork, you can see Elder and Canahawk. But don't be mistaken, you don't need those 2 to make this card. You just need any tamer and any animal. Ulti Canahawk is the main engine of the deck. You can return 2 Ritual Beast cards from the banish to the grave to search a Ritual Beast card from your deck to your hand. This is essentially your first turn play, and there are many combos with this. It searches everything in your deck and can resolve multiple times. The next fusion monster is Ritual Beast Ulti Apelio. This effect is similar to a Star Eater, where when it attacks, it is unaffected by other card effects. It is used as a big beat stick, and it can't be stopped by stuff like Necros Valkyrus and Battle Fader. You usually want to make this when you're pushing for damage. The last fusion monster is Ritual Beast Ulti Petalfin. This card is similar to Winda, where it cannot be destroyed by other card effects. This card is used as a huge wall and usually made after attacking and the last thing you do before you end your turn. Your opponent usually can't run this over due to its high defense, and can destroy it by other card effects. You're generally safe during your opponent's turn once you make this. So on to the Ritual Beast support cards. Right now there is 1 spell card and 2 trap cards. The spell card being Ritual Beast Bonds. It allows you to fusion summon at any time due to it being a quick play card. It also disregards any fusion restriction that the fusion monster has. So you don't need 1 tamer and 1 animal. You can have 2 animals, 2 tamers, it doesn't matter. The next support card is Ritual Beast Ambush. This card is kind of like a double Call of the Haunted. You special 2 monsters, either from your grave or banish. It doesn't matter which. You're gonna get 2 from grave, 2 from banish, or 1 from each. You usually want to use this card during your opponent's end phase, so that during your turn you have plays. The last trap card being Ritual Beast Steeds. This is Ritual Beast's trump card. It allows you to destroy monsters equal to the amount of Ritual Beast monsters on the field. So this is like a Regeki during your opponent's turn. This is very powerful because you can disrupt their plays and prevent them from doing anything. This deck has many combos, and I'm gonna go through one of them with you. This is the most common play that you see Ritual Beast decks do. So all you need for this is an Old Man and a Canahawk. So first you'll summon the Old Man, use this effect to normal summon the Canahawk. Then you can use Canahawk's effect to banish a Ritual Beast monster from your deck. Now you contact fusion into Ulti Canahawk. Next you'll uncontact the Ulti Canahawk. You'll go back into the Old Man and the Canahawk. Next you use the Canahawk's effect again. Make sure you banish the correct one. If you banish a tamer the first time, make sure you banish an animal the second time, or vice versa. I usually like to banish Apelio and Wen with Canahawk's effect. Apelio because you can refuel your banish zone, and Wen because it's a big beat stick. Now you recontact back into the Ulti Canahawk. So this is where it gets confusing. Feel free to rewind if you don't understand. Now you'll use the Ulti Canahawk to search a card from your deck to your hand. You'll target a tamer and an animal to return to your grave. The cool thing about this is that you can chain on top of this effect. So you can chain the contact out to this effect. So you only need to banish 1 card instead of 2. So right here you'll uncontact out into Wen and Apelio. You can use the Apelio effect to send back the card that you put in your grave to your banish zone. Now you can recontact back into Ulti Canahawk. Now you use the Ulti Canahawk's effect again to add another card to your hand. Usually you would want 1 ambush and 1 steeds. The steeds to disrupt your opponent's play, and the ambush to push harder during your next turn. Unfortunately, you cannot chain the effect to contact out due to the Ritual Beast's monsters effect, where you can only special summon each once per turn. So now you have Ulti Canahawk on the field, a steed set and an ambush set, on top of any other cards you have in your hand before. I usually like to leave an animal in the banish zone and the grave, because just in case you're able to draw a Laura or a Wen, they will both be live during your turn. So in conclusion, the good thing about this deck is that the plays are endless. And I mean literally. It'll take you a very long time to do a simple Ritual Beast play. Another pro about this deck is that it dodges everything. If you have a fusion monster on your field and your opponent tries to target it, you can always contact out. Your opponent's effect will fizzle since the target is gone. It also has Regeki for days. Since you can steeds during your opponent's turn, your opponent generally can't do anything unless they get rid of the monsters first. This deck also allows you to play Floodgates like Macro and Q-Fissure. A lot of decks cannot function under these 2 cards. Lastly, your arms will get buffed. Since the plays are endless, you will be moving your arms all day, so expect to gain some muscle after 10 round regionals. The bad thing about this deck is that it could break really hard. Since the majority of the deck revolve around each other, you can draw some really dead hands. It also loses to Vanities, but fortunately since Vanities is at 1 during the next ban list, this might not be a problem anymore. Also, this is a very tiring deck, since this deck is very combo orientated and not linear at all. You need to think about every turn to maximize your plays. So that's it for me. Your normal teacher David will be coming back during the next video. I will agree that this deck is very confusing at first. Unfortunately, we can't show you every combo, but if you have any questions, please comment down below. I will also be putting a general deck list in the description down below. I hope you guys have a great spring break and don't sweat too much playing this deck. Bye!